All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up our Me site for our inside out projects. We use the Me site more for a back end to different projects, including 5xx, 4xx, even 1xx. And the reason that we do this is so that we can actually write applications and use WordPress as a framework to support our administrative side, meaning manage our content, menus, people, things like that. And we learn how to interact through APIs. So first thing we want to do is go to egavas hosting, log in, and we're going to go ahead to hosted domains. And under hosted domains, we're going to create a subdomain and we're going to call it Me. And then select your primary domain name. Mine is inside-out-project.com. And I'm going to go ahead and say add host. At this point, the host should be added, and I'm going to go ahead and find my site that I just created, my subdomain that I just created, which is right here. And I'm going to go into edit subdomain and set up the SSL. We do this by going up here to IP addresses and grabbing the shared IP address for SSLs. And if you notice, when we select that shared IP address, it puts something down here called request let's encrypt SSL. This can take a little bit of time to set up, but what it is a free SSL certificate so that all your transactions can be done encrypted through secure socket layer. So once you have those selected, go ahead and hit edit host. Now that we have that taken care of, let's scroll up and let's take a look. And we can see that we are now SSL under Me. Mine is me inside-out-project.com. The next thing that we want to do is we want to go to installer and applications installer. Inside the applications installer, this is where we can install different websites and things of that nature. And we see that on the top is WordPress. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to install WordPress. First thing we're going to do is accept the default version to install. We're going to go select our Me subdomain. Mine is me.insideoutproject.com. We're going to get rid of the WordPress folder. And that way we can see this is what the URL will look like that we're going after. Your admin name at this point can be whatever you want it to be. We're going to use this site quite a bit. We don't want it to get hacked. So I would encourage you to go ahead and use whatever username and password it is that you think is best. I'm actually just going to use this one now, and then I'll change it later because of the video. And I don't want people to see my password, which you'll see why I say that then. So use a password and username that you're familiar with. And this is the password and username you'll use to access your website. I'll go ahead and leave that for my email. And then for the blog title, let's call it IOP-me. For your database prefix, we're going to change that to just me. And we're going to let it automatically create a database. And we don't really care about the theme because we're not so worried about the front end of the site as much as we are the back end, because we're using this site to help us manage other applications. So we'll go ahead, we'll say install WordPress. And this is why I say don't, I didn't want to, because of the video, it will show username and password, things like that, even though I can blur it out in case I forget to. It's important to, not be sharing information, and so just using that generic information is good enough for right now. And then what we want to do is, now our WordPress site has been installed. So now what we can do is we can go visit the admin area. and we are inside of our WordPress site. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do a couple installs real quick, install a couple plugins. This is not a WordPress lesson. You should be familiar with WordPress by this point. What we're doing is just setting up so that we can use this. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to add new plugin. And the first plugin that we want to put in is Updraft Plus. And what this does for us is it's a backup. If you've been working along with me in other lessons, you'll know that this is a favorite of mine, and I use this on all of my sites. I actually have a paid version, a developer version, and it works great for dropping my files to remote places and things of that nature. So now I have my Updraft WordPress. It's installed, and I'm going to go ahead and activate it. Now that I have it activated, I am going to sneak out of plugins for a minute, and I'm going to go to General, under Settings. And we'll just be silly and put a tagline in there and call it my back end to my front end. And that'll make more sense to you as you use this application. Like I said, we're going to use this to drive several websites in the front end. We'll come back in here after our HTTPS is resolved, and we'll set these to HTTPS so that our site works as secured. We're not going to open up and let anyone register. So at this point, we will set our time zone now. We're -5 for East Coast. And let's save those changes. Let's go out to Updraft Plus, and in our settings, let's just pump that up to 5. And what that is file backup and database backup. So after 5, it'll start to replace the first one that was in with the newest one. And after we change that, we have to go ahead and save that, and it's set our settings. Now that we have that in, we can go ahead and we can do a backup real quick. And that way, if anything happens between now and then, the furthest back we can fall is to where we are right at this point. So it's always a good idea to go ahead and just do a quick backup and get that in. And our backup is complete.